Yo, 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 yo. If you weren't ready, you should be ready. I am just coming out of the theater. I just finished watching the movie Air, the story of how Air Jordan became Air Jordan. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe to the video. I'm Coach Gene Clemens, coming to you with my first movie review. I've been talking about doing movie reviews and entertainment reviews forever. It's one of the things that I'm really passionate about, but I really wanted to continue to be in that intersection of where sports and culture come together. There's nothing more sports and culture than sports movies, especially since usually those sports movies include people that look like me. What better movie to start with than this movie? First off, it is an all-star cast. It is a ridiculously good cast. Some of the best casting that I've seen, not because the people look like, you know, Sonny Vaccaro or Mrs. Jordan, Dolores Jordan, like not because the people look like them, but because they play the roles so well, because they care about the craft. I think it's one of the things that we lose so many times when we talk about sports movies is that everyone's always worried about like the sport. And so usually if I'm thinking about like a basketball movie, I'm thinking about this movie, I would be thinking about the fact that I want this to be like really good basketball, but it's not a basketball movie per se. It's a human interest movie. It just happens to be shaped around the world of basketball. And because of that, like you get everything in here. Like you get all of the intrigue that you would at any type of movie. That's why this movie is going to be up for all of the Academy Awards, you know, going forward, because it's really a movie that you look at and you go, oh snap! They turned a movie about a guy signing a shoe deal into what it really is, and that is the most earth-shattering, groundbreaking deal that ever happened in sports and entertainment. If you don't know the backstory about this, you know, everybody wears Jordans and everybody has the Jordans on their feet, and you know how much Jordans cost. But that's not the groundbreaking thing. Yes, it is the most popular shoe ever. It's the most recognizable shoe and shoe logo ever. But that's not what makes this thing so fantastic. What makes this thing fantastic is that at the end of the day, it is the first athletic endorsement deal that gave the athlete ownership over an entity. You want to know how Michael Jordan became a billionaire off of sneaker sales? This is how it's done. If you want to know why so many of these athletes are saying that they want to stay with a shoe company in perpetuity, this is why. It makes me want to go back and dig into the contracts of every basketball, football, baseball, track athlete that came after Michael Jordan. Because Michael Jordan's deal was not just a lot of money for one player, which it was at that time. It gave him legitimate equity in the company. Because, let me take these shades off to let you know, every single shoe that is sold that has Jordan or the Jordan brand on it, Michael Jordan gets a percentage of. And he has been receiving a percentage of that ever since he signed the deal. Think about that. Ever since he signed the deal. So watching how this all unfolded, and shout out to Matt Damon for playing Sonny Vaccaro the way he did, for believing. And what I really love about this, the thing I really love about the story is that this isn't some guy who didn't know anything about basketball, who stumbled upon like a legend. This was a guy who was a basketball guy, who knows and understands basketball, and the fact that he is the guy that was able to land the basketball player and not just some random, people. That says so much. I'm not worried about spoilers in this movie because you already know what happened in this movie. That's what's so great about a lot of times sports movies, especially historically correct sports movies. You already know what happens. So the idea that Sonny Vaccaro is the one, he's the driving force behind Michael Jordan. The fact that he is the one that sees everything, that knows everything, that could see the forest through the trees. The fact that it's Nike and not Adidas and not Reebok and not Converse that make this happen. It's so phenomenal to me that it's a basketball guy that does this. And the story of how you can see him struggling with his worth at a company. The fact that you can see that he was not only struggling with who he was, but how his identity at this company, because his company had failed so often in trying to get legitimate basketball talent. Like the fact that he was able to make this happen, the fact that he was able to, to find his purpose in life. If you really want to be honest about it, this is like chapter 1 of, not even really chapter 1, probably like chapter 2 of the Sonny Vaccaro story. The chapter 1 would probably be his basketball camp, which they allude to at the beginning of the movie, but this is after the basketball camp, after he's a known high school commodity, and that everybody has started doing what he was doing, which is running their own camps. Like he's the genesis of it. So he has been at the forefront of everything that has been player recognition, player development, player exposure, and now player profit. And you really have to enjoy that and love that about this man and the way he was portrayed in this movie. I gotta give it up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are out there and you do not like Ben Affleck, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Ben Affleck's not going anywhere. Because Ben Affleck as a director, he smoked this thing. He killed it. I mean, the way, the cinematography, the way he set up all of the stories. I love the fact that Dolores Jordan was painted as the brains, because that's who she was. She was the brains behind the operation. I love the fact that Michael Jordan's father, God bless the dead, he didn't even try to act as if he was the brains in the situation. From the moment we're introduced to that couple, we all know that the mother is the person that's the point person. Like we know that the mother is responsible for, being the advisor to the son, to Jordan. And so the fact that she held enough weight, that she held enough gravitas to say, yeah, I know what you guys are offering. I know what you guys want it to be. But on top of what you want it to be, we're also going to want this. Because the money that they were able to get by having this bidding war with all of the different shoe companies, even though Michael Jordan wasn't even like the number 1 pick, even though it was a little bit of a risk, because to that point in time, the big man ruled the world, right? The big man ruled the world of the NBA. And so to have the foresight to be able to look and see all these things happening, the way they lay it out, the mother very calculated in the way in which she spoke and she did things. Oh, and I don't want to spoil the movie, but the fact that she kind of came back to him at the end and said, oh, this must have just been like a clerical error, but my son should get a percentage of every shoe sold. A percentage of every single shoe sold. I think you guys don't even realize what that means, especially in reference to the Jordan brand and how that goes. And so the way the story is laid out, the fact that Sonny Vaccaro bet on himself, knowing that he was probably signing his own firing, if they didn't get this done. The fact that if they didn't get this done, the entire basketball division at Nike could possibly like go down. Like when you see how much heart is in this story, when you see the fact that they did this without ever really showing or having Michael Jordan be a part of this story, it's so, well, not be a part of it, but be an active role that you saw. You just saw the back of a guy's head that was supposed to be Jordan, maybe twice for a fraction, like for a second in the story. You only hear Michael Jordan's voice once, and it's only to say one line. This is about everything around Michael Jordan, but with Michael Jordan still as the central figure of the story. I love the way in which Ben Affleck does it. It just makes me sad that Ben Affleck did not do the Batman, because I know people hate him as the Batman, but he's an excellent director, and his portrayal of that character was one of my favorites in the way in which they showed him. So I would have loved to have seen what he would have done with it as a director. But this movie is fantastic. If you wanna feel good, if you wanna think, if you wanna have a little nostalgia, this movie has everything that you're looking for. I don't want to give stars because that's so cliche in this world, but let's just say I would give it 5 basketballs. And so for my first review, I recommend all of you go to your local theater. If you don't have an AMC pass, I would tell you to get an AMC pass or get a pass from any theater that's offering a pass. Go check this movie out. Make sure that you also, on this video, hit the like and subscribe. Check out the movie. It was fantastic. It's definitely worth the money. I'm probably going to see it again. That's how much I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for it to come out on Amazon so that I could then watch it on Prime a bunch of time as well. Shout out to Amazon, Amazon Movies for having this be one of their things. These companies, man, these streaming companies are doing a really good job of buying quality movies and then putting the money into them to make them at a level that they should be made. You don't put this cast of characters together without breaking a lot of bread. And so I really hope that this movie does what they think it's going to do at the box office. And I'm sure it's going to do what they expected to do at award shows. So my review of Air, go out and check it out. Until next time, I'm Coach Gene Clements. Peace.